Okay. We're back, and with me is Chris Harris. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. Having a great show. How about yourself?
I am doing spamtastic. And, it's been since, I guess, Comic Palooza that we actually last talked.
That's right.
I guess what we need to do is get one. Why don't you remind your audience? Remind your audience. Yeah, remind our audience. What you're about, what you have, and then we'll kind of just go off on a tangent from there.
Okay. So again, DaVinci Maker Labs. I'm Chris Harris. I'm the president of DaVinci Maker Labs. We're a nonprofit makerspace located in Alvin, Texas. We have an awesome suite of tools. We have a great facility. We have tools ranging from CNC machining to welding to arts and crafts to embroidery to electronics, you name it, we got it. So I encourage you to come down, take a tour, or hit the website, check out the classes. It's a membership-based facility. However, membership is not required to take classes. So come down, check it out, and we'll get you making something.
Yeah, cool. I know that when we did the Comic Palooza, what was great about your group is that you were kind of like made the designated person to go ahead and fix and repair costumes.
That's right. And we're gonna double up on that this year too. Mm-hmm. We've got some crazy ideas for this upcoming, the next Comic Palooza. And if we even do half of our crazy ideas, it'll be an awesome show. So
I think I even asked you. You probably had some wardrobe malfunctions. You probably could have bleached your eyes out from them. I imagine, huh?
Yes, absolutely. There were several of those. Luckily, I had plenty of people, running for me and doing things for me to take care of some of the ones that were a little rough. But we noticed that. A local repair, so we had a repair station set up, in the hall, but I also noticed people were basically breaking down, getting ready to walk on the stage and things like that. So I ended up loading up tools and running around the whole facility fixing people's costumes like ad hoc. It was awesome. So we're going to build on that, and hopefully we can make we want to make a skit out of it. Is what we want to do. We want to get the crowd engaged. And really our mission is to show that, all these folks, here at this facility, at the Maker Faire and at Comic Palooza, these are all makers, and people come to the Maker Faire kind of realize that because they're going to a Maker Faire. Comic Palooza, we're still we're helping to make that connection between all these people making these just fabulous costumes, right? I mean, it takes skill to do some of this. And help them realize that, hey, you're part of a maker community, and there's you have a support community. Right. You have an entire community that wants to help you build these things.
And I think, is that a challenge to get that word out to let them know?
Yeah, it's absolutely a challenge. I mean, in our facility down in Alvin, people walk through the door and they kind of crack open the door and look in and sneak in, and you got to grab them and drag them in. Come on, come in. They're not used to that. That welcoming, inviting, kind of environment.
Because they've been doing it solo.
Yeah. And even the people that aren't making, they'll stick their head in and you drag them in and, well, what is this? And you say, it's a makerspace. And what's a makerspace? 90% of the people have no idea what a makerspace is. So one of our biggest goals, and I keep telling everybody else, and Innovation Spark tells everybody else, and that's, the point of all this is, here's what a makerspace is. Here's what makers are, who they are. Here's what they do, and it's a worldwide effort, push, collaboration to build stuff.
Right.
So getting that definition out and getting people to realize that you're already part of it. You just don't realize there's a huge support network for you.
And I can only imagine that with these people with the costumes that have been doing solo stuff, that when they come in and they find different techniques to improve their techniques, like make something lighter, using a kind of a foam layer versus something a little bit heavier. Yeah. So it just goes a long way to benefit them in their costume making and.
Oh yeah, when you show someone, they come in, I made this cool costume, and they're made out of this and that, and and they sat at home for 2 months cutting out EVA foam they got from Home Depot with scissors. You're like, come on down, and and did you know you can get a PEP file for that, and we can put it on the laser cutter and blow through all of that in like 2 minutes. All your little intricate cuts are perfect. We can do 3D molding on our our 3-axis mill and so forth. It just blows them away because they're not used to that tool set.
Right.
It's the tool set that gets them over that that hump and makes them realize that, wow, I can, and then their imaginations just go crazy. It's like, well, I can add infinite detail to this.
Right, exactly. It gets that much better.
That's right.
So so the Comic Palooza thing is cool. So tell us a little bit about the other things that I've seen in your area. I've seen some rockets. I've seen some.
Yeah, you could say we're into rockets.
Arcade stuff thing going over there.
Right.
And so just start a point, and then let's talk about that.
Okay. So those are 2 points with a lot to talk about. So the arcade thing, that's a RetroPie, and if you talk to a Raspberry Pi person, like, oh yeah, I know what that is. So it's the old school ROMs for the old arcade games, all loaded onto memory with an emulator that'll play them on a Raspberry Pi. Awesome platform. It's fun to play the games and everything. I'm not really into the game playing side of it. I'm into the instructional side for programming, loading the machine, and building. Right. So I'm on that side of it, and it's a good lever arm to get kids engaged in building microcomputer projects.
Right.
And the Raspberry Pi is just a wonderful platform. We've standardized on that platform, and it's just. I can't say anything bad about it. It's just awesome. They hit the right price point. The complexity is just right. It's not too crazy, and not too easy. And it's very powerful. So the Raspberry Pi and the RetroPie thing is a great lever arm for us for teaching and reaching our mission. Now the rockets are a little deeper entrenched with us. So I did my time at JSC. I supported return to flight, and that was kind of my professional side and so forth. And a couple of my other directors involved in DaVinci are amateur rocketry guys, just like me, and we kind of take it to another level. There's amateur rocketry when you usually talk to someone, it's like, oh, cool little Estes model rockets.
Right.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize, and what a lot of kids don't realize, is there's a big kid version to rocketry. So there's high power rocketry.
Right.
And it gets insane.
I've seen some of the rockets over there.
Those are actually small compared to some of the things.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's amateur rockets going to 150, 200,000 feet.
Now, my concern is, do you need to get some kind of approval once you're getting to a point?
Yeah. Well, you excuse me. So you always have that approval, or we always have that approval. We fly in a club or a group, and we take care of the FAA waivers involved and things like that. So yeah, I mean these things are flying fast. They're flying supersonic.
Because you can't launch these willy nilly.
No. Well, and to get to the point, you saw some big rockets in our booth. That's not something you go to Hobby Lobby and buy.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's something you have to fabricate.
You have to fabricate, and you can't get the motors unless you're certified. So there's a certification process that goes with that. And there's 3 levels of certification. And they're not, the first one is, okay to get. The other 2 are kind of hard to get, which is good. Right. But once you're certified, man, it's rock and roll time. You can fly some big stuff. In fact, we have a program based off of that. We have a CANSAT program, and what it is a program where we take little payloads that students make up, and we fly them to anywhere between 10,000 and 150,000 feet, depending on what the payload is. And it ranges. It's K through 12.
Wow.
So we have a program where little kids can build a little package with a little egg, and they can try to pad it, and we see if it goes to scrambled eggs at 10,000 feet or not, right? And then we have on the other end of that spectrum, a high school program where they build little mimicked satellites with generally using a Raspberry Pi or some kind of microcomputer, and we put it in there and we eject it at 100,000 feet and see if it tracks and survives, and they get the data back, and so they end up owning that project and that data and see something big that comes of it, and they get attached to it and excited, and hopefully that spurs them into some kind of STEM career. Right?
All I know is that as a kid back in the late 70s, early 80s, that would have been so cool to be a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I see projects like that, it's like it really blows my mind that the youth that are involved are tapped into it. One, the youth in general.
Yeah.
But 2, the new generation of kids they're just so tech savvy.
Right.
And because I remember a time when you had to sit in front of a TV, there was only 3 channels on, and you had to be there. Versus now, it's like a la carte kind of thing. As
Right.
a comparison.
Right.
I mean, kids are just brilliant these days.
Yeah, and there's and to that point, it's important to realize what's making that possible, right? So there's a couple different components making that possible. One is price points. Price points on hardware have dropped dramatically. We have access to additive manufacturing. Everybody in their kid has a 3D printer. Right. So that was not like that just a couple of years ago. Right. So that's going exponential. Now we have things like the Raspberry Pi, right? That's a very capable microprocessor system with I/O built on. 5 years ago, that was $10,000, man.
Right, exactly.
So all these doors are opening, and the maker community is figuring out not only how to build these things at lower price points, but they're also figuring out how to integrate them together, how to build systems out of these other components that have lower price points.
Right.
And that's where you're seeing all these other things flourish. And that's it. That's what's giving us the ability to do this. And that's on the the amateur side. Obviously, the professional side has its own ball of wax and so forth. But anyways, it's important to realize that the maker community is doing a lot more for the world than they think they are.
Sure.
They're literally creating opportunities that wouldn't otherwise exist because someone else didn't see, okay, there's no profit in it, we're not going to play with that. Maker community doesn't care if there's profit in it.
Right.
They don't care.
That's the lovely point about that. It's for to develop minds to create.
That's right.
And what's exciting is that I see on Facebook there's this one video, I can't remember specifically, but I do remember seeing how, hey, come bring your kids to coding. Basic, using Pi and build your own little computer.
That's right.
And it's amazing the technology, because, like you said, it was expensive a few years back, but now, and I keep saying this too in some of our broadcasts, that as time has marched on, you see price points come down to where it's very affordable to create these projects. Now, speaking of projects, you've mentioned, launching a Raspberry Pi into the stratosphere and using it for retro gaming. What are some of the other projects that you've seen Pi's used for in out there?
Oh, wow. It's easier to make a list of what I haven't seen it used for.
Well, what is something maybe you haven't seen that you'd probably think that...
I haven't seen it used to, make Dippin' Dots. I don't know, I'm looking at the Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots? Yeah.
I'm grasping at straws here, because and the reason why I say that is I've seen it on everything. It's either been a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino or some form of it, right? Some little microprocessor system that they've done. It's just everything from flashy lights, we call it flash and trash kind of things, right, from a production standpoint, or all the way to controlling, complex robotic systems. I mean, it's across the board, So in fact, we got a couple of classes coming up, right? One of them is extreme Christmas lights, right? So extreme Christmas lights with Raspberry Pis is totally awesome. Using the addressable full color LEDs and all that stuff. And then from that, we were thinking, well, what's another cool class we can do? And Raspberry, came out with the new, the Zero, the little one. Right. We're like, well, it's really small, really lightweight. We got the lights. What else can we do? Hey, pimp my ugly sweater class, right? So like I said, it's just, they're being used for everything. It's there's no limitation, man. I mean, with a price point that low, I mean, use it for everything.
Right, exactly. Wire your house, different things.
Oh, there's people doing
everything.
Full automation systems with Raspberry Pi. So
the when you look at the future, it looks pretty bright with the young adults getting involved, which is always great, and it warms my heart to see that. And then plus the technology, it's going to be a situation where it's just something off the table, and I'm reading my paper or whatever, and it's just what I'm saying. I guess that what I'm getting at is how easy it will be to get your hands on technology, and versus big corporations, and selling things for such an exorbitant amount of prices.
Right.
And then plus when you also bring it back to the openness, it kind of reminds me of Linux. being open source code, and that's been wonderful. Where this technology is open source, and it gives people to think outside the box. And so
absolutely.
Now, with that said, if people wanted to reach out to you, find you on the old interwebs, what's the best way to follow you and keep in touch with you?
The absolute best way to track us down is DaVinciMakerLabs.com. That's it. Go to the website. You'll find our classes. You'll find information. You'll find the membership stuff. You'll find the donation link. Right? We're going to mention that one. Definitely.
Oh yes, definitely.
And shoot us an email if you don't see what you're looking for. If you don't see the class you're looking for at the time you're looking for, or what, send us an email. We're here to help, man. And generally there's someone else looking for the same class at the same time, or So my whole point is reach out. I don't care how you do it. You can call, you can send an email, you can talk to us on Facebook, send smoke signals. I don't care.
Right.
Just reach out. Come see us.
So you heard that, cosplayers, you should listen to this guy and get involved, and you broaden your horizons with your costume design. So definitely go check out DaVinci. So, Chris, thanks for being a part of the universe.
Thank you.
Yes.
Always appreciate it.
We always look forward to talking to you.
Absolutely.